Hello, my name is Tyler Yang, and this is my midterm presentation. So let's get started. Policing. Since the beginning, the policing system has been a very controversial topic um, throughout policing history. We see cops abuse their power and inflict excessive use of force and violence to make arrest. Too often do we see situations flare and violence break out, guns, and stuff like that. And when most people think about policing, they think they're supposed to protect and serve. um, and to say that's completely true, I mean completely false, it's a big statement because there are police out there that do their job, but we all need to accept the fact that there are flaws in our policing system. And in the article, police were created to control the working class and poor people, not serve and protect. They um, they state that the violence police carried out, and their moral separation from those they patrolled were not the consequences of brutality of individual officers, but were consequences of careful policies designed to mold the police into force that could use violence to deal with these social problems. And basically, what that's saying is that it's not the individual police officer that is, you know, out here causing these problems. It's the system that allows these police officers to do this type of stuff. Um, Oftentimes, when you think of a criminal, you see a person involved in like reckless activity, gang activity, someone that's living in poverty, low income. Um, In the book, The Rich Get Richer, The Poor Get Prison, it really emphasizes how the system fails to publicize corporate crimes, and those of lower class are given most of the blame. Like those are living in poverty, those are even homeless. They are the ones that are dealing with the consequences of these crimes when there are actual, higher ups, the elite in the world that are doing blue collar crimes all the time, and they don't get any of the consequences. These wealthy criminals can basically get out of anything no matter the power they hold. Um, the consequences are very significant to those compared to the lower income. Uh, we learned the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. Um, it shows how our system is unfair. It's a good example of how powerful white people can take our culture, style and things that we use in our culture and profit off of it when they know nothing about it. Um, at the same time, there are those that and dress like that and get policed or racially profiled by that. Anyone growing up with no money, they adjust to the way they adjust their styles to the way they can, and in their situation, and you know, due to that, they get policed heavily, and they're seen as criminals by the way they dress. The lives of these people are not supported and fulfilled by the system. That's why they resort to crimes and resistance in order for them to survive. And when we think of crimes, when do crimes, we always think that they're in the wrong. This person did that. This person did this. This person should get the consequence. But never do we think, why did this person do this? And a good example of that is stealing a bag of potato chips. The article. Reading that, you realize, is a kid really wrong for stealing his bag of potato chips? Or is he, is he doing what he needs to do to survive because he's hungry? And we really go over the youth control complex, explains how every social contact starts to police the youth, and especially black and brown working class, and they surveillance their behavior more now. Again, policing the youth. Uh, we go over this school to prison pipeline and how we police the youth to basically prepare them for prison. Statistics show that 1 in 3 black male that are born in 2001 have a chance of going to prison, and 1 in 6 Latino born in 2001 have a chance of going to prison. You know, more and more do we see schools nowadays that are, treated like prisons. The big fences, barbed wire. They result to having officers on campus instead of to deal. They use officers to deal with these problems rather than resort to like therapy. Therapists, counselors, stuff like that. Also, they implemented zero tolerance policies at schools, which applies to everything and anything, not just violence and guns. It applies to simple rule breaking, not listening to teachers, and simple stuff like that. In our criminal justice system, there is also solitary confinement, which is not, not something anyone wants in their life. Solitary confinement is like a form of imprisonment, living in a small cell with, no contact with anybody or other inmates, and they use strict measures to control you. I think our criminal justice system is kind of like, slavery, modern day slavery nowadays. They say racism and slavery, have not been ended, as people think it's just rather been redefined in other terms. And just like slavery back then, we go to prisons nowadays, and they have free labor in prisons. If you compare that to back then, you see these African Americans, which our prisons are mostly filled with African Americans nowadays. But you go back then, you see these African Americans, working for free for these white, people in order for them to make a profit. And that's exactly what goes on in the prisons. You see these prison mates working for these big corporations, but we don't see this on the outside world. And that's how they make a profit even more, because they don't have to pay them. Criminalization, the act of turning someone into a criminal by making their activities illegal. A lot of times we see new rules implemented that makes things that were never illegal, makes them illegal now. And a big part of that is ALEC. ALEC plays a major role in making new laws for these corporate members to become even richer. And, that's what they do. They make these new rules, and, all these corporate leaders are involved in it. And it's all just a system to make them richer. And we see that, they heavily police, poverty neighborhoods for this reason. We don't see them police the normal white people society and like that. They're mainly covering these poverty-filled neighborhoods just to, make a profit. And when they're in prison, they're not given all their rights that they need. As American citizens, they don't have all their rights. So it kind of, makes it harder for them to get out or vote against what they think is right, because they're not allowed to vote in prison. If we take a look at the social construction of crime, we see that everything's controlled by the elite individuals. Nowadays prisons are multi-billion-dollar industries because of how policed, these poverty and colored people are. And you really see that everything is really ran by these elite individuals. We get examples from the, say, take the film The 13th, you know, from the beginning it gives examples of U.S. leaders using criminal activity as a way to scare the public, and making them believe that whites are the only, you know, humanized race, and showing examples of African Americans that are, you know, criminals, and why we should strengthen the law, and um, you know, make sure that these people don't get out. But we got to realize everyone's human, and you know, we need a fair chance at life. Um, if you go back to the book, the rich get richer and the poor get prison. Uh, it emphasizes again how the system fails to publicize these corporate leaders, these elite individuals that themselves are criminals. And because all these corporations are said to control media, that's very easy for them to you know, keep these corporate crime secrets and stuff like that, because they control what the public is aware and what the public is unaware of. And things we see on the news, these we see online, you know, it's controlled by these elite individuals. We also see the use of hedge money. Hedge money is you know, defined as a social group that holds dominance over another social group. And you know, nowadays with that going on, you know, media around is very easy to be influenced. You know, you're very easily influenced by what you see on the media. And you know, social media, any type of media, is very prevalent in our today's society, and it's, you know, it's hard to get away from. You know, you speak about it in some of your lectures. We're all born into the system at a young age and taught to listen to our elders, and we're never taught to question. This transfers to where media puts out information. You know, we see these people that are elite individuals, higher ups. You know, they're in control, and we learn nothing but to listen. We never learn to question. You know, just to recap all of this, after going everything, you know, we really got to realize that there are major flaws in our policing system, and just, you know, controlling, you know, corporate crimes in general, and everything just needs you know, to be redefined. You know, we gotta stick up for ourselves, you know, and you know, the only way we can do that is if us as the people, you know, stand up and do something about it. Because as long as these corporate people and elite individuals rule the world, and they're always going to be in control, and there's nothing we can do about it, except for fight back. So I think the main thing we can do is just come together as you know, minorities. And minorities are not whatever you believe in. You know, if you believe in us, you know, I believe we should all be able to come together and make a difference. And there's my works cited, and that's pretty much my project, my presentation. Thank you for watching.